Hi everybody, I'm Elise as Another Truth on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening to this audio only video. I hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves. Just a few things before I start. Everything I say in this is based on my own opinions, personal research, experience, or understanding of the matters at hand, and I am not an expert in any way in healthcare or anything else, I suppose. So please, always, especially when I talk about these things, do your own research, consult with professionals. If you are having a problem, I'll put a couple links in the description box for you to access if you have questions about the topic today. Secondly, there is a trigger warning, and I have health anxiety myself, so I always appreciate these. But if you are sensitive to topics of bacterial infections, viruses, or healthcare related stuff, please click out because it could be triggering. Even talking about this creates some level of anxiety inside of me, in my mind, but it's important to talk about it. And I also want to say that while I'm going to talk about a potential problem with Katie Joy in terms of a seeming stubborn infection, that I will not refrain from criticizing her in future videos if it's necessary, or discuss online behavior events that come up from time to time. I did have to put one of my other videos, or set the other video as private, the one I did recently, because although what I said was my opinion, I'm not ashamed of it or anything like that. That is my perspective and understanding of the situation around her awkward reappearance and things like that. But it's tied into healthcare, and I don't want it to healthcare shame anybody. So, understanding that, let's move forward. I noticed that Katie's reappearance seemed awkward, and that she did not seem like she was, how do I say it, cognitively well or cognitively stable. And it could have been the swelling in her face. It could have been she looked a little different, and she did look good at first. She really did. Like, I had expected to see something entirely different given that what she's talking about. And the only reason why I didn't expect her to return this soon is because not too long ago she mentioned in another video that she was going to do the voiceovers of her videos indefinitely. And she was still battling with whatever it is that she's battling at this point. So it was a surprise to see her, and I know that even on that appearance she made on Fox, which was horrendous given the nature, the background, and how Katie was sort of tied into that. That's a separate issue, but she looked, at first glance, she looked okay. Now, I figured that, if she's going through a traumatic event, a health event, I did not expect her to return looking as good as she looks, at least on the outside. Maybe it's because of her hair, the way it's styled. I expected her to look a little more tired. I don't know. So I was maybe that's where that reference comes from. I don't think Katie Joy is a physically ugly woman. She's I think she looks all right. Looks like a normal person. The only difference is there was just something off. And I thought she had a serious infection or some problem. It might have caused like a Bell's palsy. Sometimes it's triggered by those types of things, or some trauma to the face or an infection. It can come about as a secondary thing. And I thought maybe she was recovering from that. Now, I did see Cactus Bill's video specifically about dermatological problems or infections in the face that are potentially fatal, that can happen very quickly and things like that. And it occurred to me, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me earlier, but in seeing this, I thought, I wonder if she has MRSA, or she's in battling MRSA. She may not be telling us because it's, it's almost a shamed kind of infection because it implies a number of different things. But I mean, people can get it in the hospital, people can get it in the community in any way. And I think with MRSA, the problem is that, I mean, you can get it once and not get it again. You're not in danger of spreading it if you're not a carrier or anything like that. It it it's different for different people. Um, it it's thought that it is transmitted through cats and dogs, like cats. It's transmitted from cats and dogs to humans, but also humans can transmit it to cats and dogs and other humans. So in Cactus Bill's video, they made it clear that these type of dermatological infections can spread. And maybe that they were alluding to MRSA, and I wasn't paying attention, but I have experience with MRSA, but it was treated successfully within a week because I acted fast. I didn't fuck around. I had to have a surgical drainage of it quickly. It was um, not on my face, but around my face. There's no real explanation for what happened. It never happened again. The only thing is that during that time, I had to be very careful, extra careful around my family and my pets back then, because I was scared to transmit it to them because it's so contagious. So I had to take certain actions to ensure that I was well on my way to healing. Now, the prescription for me essentially was drainage of that boil. It wasn't big or anything, but it was growing at an alarming rate, and it looked frightening. Um, and I thought it was something, another kind of staph infection, and it wasn't. So luckily, it was. I took my first course of Bactrim at the doctor's office. They lanced the boil; it drained. I had to go back every day for a few days to make sure that I was responding to the antibiotic and stuff. Now, not everybody can take Bactrim. It's a sulfur-based medication, but it's not FDA approved that I know of for treating community-based MRSA, which is what I had. But it did that, along with the fast-acting behavior by the doctors and taking all the precautions. I was well within a week, meaning that I had healed pretty quickly, and I never had a reoccurrence after that, and this was over 10 years ago. So I'm wondering that in Katie's situation, I know that she had some kind of problem, a few years ago with this, and it seemed like there's another problem with this again a couple of years later. Now, people with MRSA can get reinfections, and normally, if that keeps happening, they have to find out what happens. But sometimes with MRSA, it can go away in a few days in my case, or it can go on for months. If it's a serious infection and it's not being treated by other types of bacteria, then it is resistant. Katie Joy would have to be admitted into a hospital. Let's say if she does have it, to have it treated intravenously. Um, and, you know, I don't know how a doctor would approach that. I mean, you can get MRSA in the hospital, you can spread it and everything, but she would need to be treated for a while in the hospital intravenously until the infection actually goes away, and that maybe the doctor still has to drain that area where it's infected. It's not, they say some MRSA can go away on its own, but considering if she does have it in that area, um, it's likely it'll get into the blood and into the brain. And I'm wondering if this has to do with her weird cognitive behavior, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor or anything. It's something for her because that is a warning sign in itself. And MRSA is difficult to treat. There's constant inflammation, constant battle with antibiotics. There's a direct approach usually to treating it. Sometimes it doesn't go away for months, and if she does have it, it seems she has a serious case of it. And um, I'm surprised she's not as sick as she looks. Now, I don't know if I agree whether or not she's not getting it treated because she's hiding an addiction. It's possible. I'm not a healthcare person. I don't want to shame people with addiction and hospital care or anything like that. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. Maybe having addiction itself does worsen these things. And I might agree with that because not with my own personal experience, but what I've observed, but not with MRSA, with other things. So whatever it is, she needs to be treated because this is a life-threatening issue. If it's not going away and it's been months and she's tried all these antibiotics, she should have been hospitalized, and it's quite possible she did refuse to do it. And she doesn't need to make content, or she doesn't need to worry about the YouTube world until her physical health, till she's out of the danger zone of this, because it's not normal for infection to keep going on like this. And if she is indeed having inflammation and there's still something going on that's not um, responding to antibiotics, it's not responding to outpatient treatment, she needs to get admitted to get treatment. She might be in the hospital for a month to do it, but she needs those antibiotics. She needs those things. She needs to get a full workup to see what the hell is going on with her, the infection in her face, if she still has it. So I don't know at this point what she plans to do or not do, but it's important that, that she should go and get admitted to the hospital, get a full battery of tests, get treatment, even if she has to be in a hospital for a month. Because the thing is, if she caught it from, let's say, the community outside, I mean, yes, she's going to pass it along to her family and pass it along to her pets. Her pets might be the reason why she has it. They say that typical transmission is rare, but it can happen if they're your companion animals. They're all over you, whatever. And I think that having good hygiene, like washing hands after touching pets, washing hands after cleaning kitty litter boxes, use gloves. I use gloves when I clean out my cat box. When I scrub it and everything, I disinfect it. I clean it in a different part of the house, and I make sure I do all that. For me, I sanitize my home the best that I can without, with pet safe stuff that is reasonable, and doing laundry regularly. I mean, she should be keeping her laundry and stuff separate from her family. She should be sleeping in accommodation separate from her family and her pets as much as possible, especially if she still has a type of infection. And washing hands frequently, washing face frequently, learning how to clean things, learning how to clean under nails, learning how to bathe properly, learning how to disinfect things safely in the house. I don't know if she's allergic to anything, but there are ways to stay sanitized without it triggering anything else. So I hope she's doing all those things. She should be doing all those things. And taking better care of her situation, where she's ensuring she's not putting the rest of her family and her beloved pets in danger of being sick, and vice versa. I mean, when you have a cat, when you have cats, especially if more than one, you have to make sure their litter boxes are sifted every day, sanitized, that their boxes are cleaned frequently, outside and in. The area around it has to be clean. I have a separate brush and dustpan for those types of things. I protect myself. I have asthma, so I have to also be careful. And I also worry about my cat's respiratory system, so I have to be careful even when I'm cleaning around that. But it's strict. It's strict because I don't want, and even with the counters, yeah, you say your counters are clean, true, but my cat doesn't normally jump on the counters or the tables or the island or the kitchen island or anything like that. But you never know. And I'm always cleaning the counters. I clean it before I prepare food, clean it after, clean it up when I go and have my coffee. I make sure I take care of all my cat stuff in the morning so that I can, wash my hands, prepare my day, clean what I need to clean, and get ready for the day, whatever I'm doing, knowing that it's going to be okay. I'm not saying I'm superior at it. It's just it's a lot of effort to keep a household with pets, and I just have one cat at this point, so and he's enough. I don't think I'm getting any more cats, but making sure that these things are clean, and he also appreciates a cleaner environment. And knock on wood, he hasn't had any serious problems so far. But, cats are cats. Anyway, all right, so that's it. Again, this is not to be superior to health shame Katie. It's just I have health anxiety, and when I hear someone who's sick and still battling something, it makes me nervous a little bit. I'm not a Katie Joy fan. I don't really care about her, but I do care that she has this infection. It poses a community problem as well as a personal problem for our community and her community in her home. And I don't want anything bad to happen to her.